I love mixing food. My favorite food is leftovers. I don't know if you can tell by my girlish figure.
Welcome to Queers Queries,
Where these queers
answer life's queries.
ours
And hopefully
yours.
Queries.
For today's episode, we have things that straight people misunderstand about gay culture.
Asked by my work son.
So thank you for the query.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Misconceptions.
Misconceptions that
done
we are here
by the heteros.
by the heteros. That we are here to
We educate.
educate.
Here to educate.
Yeah.
Just to help you.
Mhm.
Not to tell you how wrong you are about life.
This is also via our own opinion.
Yeah.
On things too. So we do not speak for the queer, community as a whole. These two nerd
Just
queers
these
right
two
here.
nerd queers. Oh, not cool.
Finally. No, we're done.
Anyway, so questions. What are the questions?
So, question number 1. It's a choice, right?
That's a tough one. Hard no on me.
no.
I can easily choose who I pursue and who I don't pursue, but you can't choose who you fall in love with or fall in lust with.
Amory, how do you identify?
I identify as pansexual. I mostly like women. I like very, very select men. And I do like quite a few trans men and women. It's more about the person than anything else.
I identify very much as a lesbian, but, we also understand that sexuality is a spectrum. All sexuality, even for straight people, is still on a spectrum.
Most people have that list, like
that person.
Like, I don't know how many quote-unquote straight girls that I know that are like, this is my girl crush. I'm like, why can't you just refer to it as a crush?
Mm-hmm. Most straight people, whether you're male or female, you have that one person.
Most of my guy friends have the one dude that they're like, yeah, I would definitely make out with him. And I feel like being confident in yourself, like, that's all it's about. And if there wasn't such a stigma on it, people wouldn't feel so judged.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's where
and
a lot
feel
of...
like they have to be in that box.
Oh, yeah. It used to be LGBT, and now there's a whole lot of letters after that, LGBTQIA+. And people are like, why do they need all of this? It's because...
It's inclusion.
It's inclusion. Not everyone fits into that tiny little box. I'm a lesbian who would absolutely do things with Jake Gyllenhaal if he walked through the door right now and said, hey, let's do things. But also, let's be real, the moment he took his pants off, I'd be like...
Just kidding, I'm just kidding. That's a
no, you can go. You can leave.
That's a no.
Thanks, though.
Thanks for the offer, Jake.
And I'll give you some money for your Uber.
Yep.
He doesn't need money for his Uber.
He doesn't need money for his Uber. Snuck it in. Okay, number 2.
How do you know if you've never been with a
hetero.
A guy or a girl?
If you've never been in hetero.
I really do think that's actually a good...
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a thing. In hetero.
We're going to make
hetero.
it. Hashtag in hetero.
Because breeders are just overdone. And as much as I love the word, it's offensive to a lot of people.
No, it is. It is.
So I try not to use it. I have a lot of straight friends who never plan on having children, so they get really offended if I use the word breeder.
Or to be sensitive, straight people who can't conceive.
Yeah, and I
That's
feel like
pretty
it's
rude.
become this thing where it's like the R word or the N word, like words that when you think about it for a long period of time, you're like, oh,
The F word.
wow, that could really hurt someone's feelings. And then you're like, as much as I love this word, I'm just not going to use it anymore.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
How do you know if you've never been in
Backtracking. Sorry, good call. We are
pulling the rails
on track today.
Getting on those tracks.
This question to me is adding to sexuality as a spectrum. It is, why does it have to be either or type of thing. So how do you know if you've never been with a guy? Well, I guess I can't say 100% that I don't know I wouldn't enjoy being with a guy.
But you've just never been attracted to a guy enough.
Not enough. And I know for certain that I'm wildly attracted to women.
Yeah. So why not go with what
Why
works?
can't it, like, and if it ends up being both, then that's fine. It ends up being both.
Yeah.
I'm happily married, so it's probably never going to be that way.
Yeah. Samesies.
But I think that's where especially the queer community is really trying to lean towards, is that it is not we have to fit within these labels. It is perfectly acceptable to not fit within those labels, but still identify at least somewhat as queer.
I feel like the bisexuals that are in the lesbian community get flack when they date dudes.
Oh, it's true, and that's unfortunate because that's what we're always fighting against, is discrimination. Like, if you're attracted to someone, you're
Or a
attracted
straight
to them.
girl that, like, has a crush on their friend shouldn't be chastised for said crush. It doesn't mean she's a lesbian. It just means she has a crush on her friend.
I was listening to a podcast the other day called Analyze This with Hannah Hart from My Drunk Kitchen and her BFF, Hannah Gelb. It's an amazing podcast. You should totally listen to it. Analyze This. Anyways, they were talking about the things that people were called in college, like, what was it, gay until May, and how really offensive that ended up being. But
Yeah, it's just a college thing.
why can't it just be a part of who you are, and that's okay? I'm not going to judge you.
I'm not
for
going to
it, I
judge.
guess. And the less we are weird, the more accepting it's going to be worldwide with everyone. And I just really hope that that's the direction it goes in.
Changing minds starts at home. Right, we're cutting that one out. So changing minds starts with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Number 3.
This last one is, who's the man and who's the woman? And this
Who's
is...
the dude?
Who's the dude? Well, the answer is, chances are there are no dudes.
I mean, sometimes there is a gender stereotypical dynamic.
Yes, but what is a gender stereotypical dynamic? So one time when I used to co-run a booth at a farmer's market, the woman in the booth next to us, I had been talking to her, I was talking about my wife, and at the end of the day she came up and genuinely, not judgmentally, asked, so in your marriage, who is the man and who is the woman? And this is a question that I'm sure all queers get. I am not angered by the question. I'm generally not angered by any questions.
Except for the, how do you guys have sex?
Oh, no, that's none of your goddamn business. That's the answer to that question.
But my spouse.
This is how I explain it to this woman. My grandparents generally fit that stereotype, that gender normative stereotype. But, for example, my grandmother did all of the finances, and when she passed away, my grandpa had no clue what was going on. Just spent money like crazy. Had no idea. People would say, you need to pay your bill for this, and he would just write him a check.
Admittedly, my wife does all of that.
Oh, my wife does all of that. Both my parents worked. My mom insisted that my dad, he didn't have to cook, but he for sure had to help do laundry. He for sure had to help clean up and do things like that. She worked full-time. She was the breadwinner of the house. The gender normative stereotypes don't actually exist. It is dependent upon the couple.
The thing that's weird with this question to me is that according to gender stereotypes, up until recently,
someone has to be able to kill the spiders. That doesn't necessarily mean that the spider killer is the man and the cook is the woman.
Yeah, up until recently, I generally made more money than Sarah, and we're both totally fine with that dynamic. And she started making more money. Also, baller. Totally deserves it. But I've always done, like, the lawn stuff, anything that's gross, trash,
Fixing things.
fixing cars, home repair. And my wife is amazing about would generally have dinner hot and ready to go when I got home from work. So the thing is, my wife is extremely picky, and I'm a terrible cook.
Desserts are her weakness.
That sweet tooth of
Oh,
hers.
yeah.
It's a joke because my wife doesn't eat sugar.
Not even a little bit.
Green beans already have salt. Bacon already has salt. When you're making green beans and bacon, they don't need more salt! We typically fit into the gender stereotype of me being the dude, because I do all the fixing and stuff, and she takes care of the house. But our dynamic is changing. I'm learning how to cook because my wife is working more. So my friend Metner, who's amazing, is teaching me how to cook. Anyway, teaching me how to cook. I've been cleaning a lot more. I hope this was informative. I feel like we touched on a lot of subjects. If you have more questions that you would like answers to, like things that may irk queer people hearing from the heteros, if it's stuff that the queers ask the heteros, if you're a hetero, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's all of our questions for the evening. Yes. If you have more questions, post it on the YouTube channel.
Or find us on Instagram.
Find us on Instagram.
Hashtag
#friendship.
Hashtag friendship. So,
Like, subscribe,
share it. Ring the bell.
ring the bell.
Ding.
Bye. Bye.